SJ Riley here for the Underground Advocate, and we are at Treblecock Studio, and we're at the expansion party. We're having a great time, and I am with a special guest, Ken Tizzard. Welcome.
Howdy, folks. Howdy, SJ.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm awake. It's the middle of the afternoon. I got a beer. And
Hey,
you know,
things are good.
Things are good. Yeah.
Wicked. Awesome. Okay. Well, thanks for coming and chatting with me today. So I know that you're a very well-established musician, and so I'm like a little starstruck right now because you've been playing in some of my favorite bands.
Oh wow! Thank you.
Like Thornley
Lots of
and
fun.
The Watchmen, but we know about all those things.
Yes.
I want to hear about Ken Tizzard and the Music for Goats. I want
Oh,
to hear
Music
about
for
this
Goats?
because that's a cool project. So what's the why this project? I like it.
Well, thanks. Music for Goats was a weird thing that kind of came out of. You know, I had been doing the solo thing for a while,
Yeah.
and I've been working with, you know, some of my musical friends. You know, I had Christian Tanner from My Mother Earth playing drum with me for a while.
Very cool.
And, you know, all these different people, but it didn't have that sense of camaraderie that I like from a band.
The community, like
Yeah.
that, the ride or die.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
And when I've got, you know, I mean, I can hire any musician from anywhere in the world to work with, but, you know, that distance and that space, I liked living in Campbellford, Ontario. So I started looking for local musicians, and it took me, you know, the better part of the 22 years that I've been there. I found a bass player after about 10 years, a guy named Mr. Grant, and he's the coolest, he's the only bass player I've ever worked with, aside from Sav Sankaran, who plays bluegrass bass with me when I'm in the States. Ken, you know, he plays what I would play. And if he doesn't play what I would play, I tell him what I would play, and then he plays that. So he's really good at adapting. He either hits it on the nose or he takes direction well.
That's great.
And that's a really hard thing to find.
And especially when you have a vision,
Well,
right?
this is it.
You have the vision, and you know exactly where you want it to be, and you won't take no for it.
Exactly.
I know.
I tend to be a little flexible sometimes.
Well,
but, you know.
the overall thing. I know what you mean. You
Yeah.
don't have to be a diva about it.
Well, as a
but-
solo artist, you've got to be, you know, you've got to have some sort of a direction. Now,
Yeah.
Music for Goats was a band that sort of slowly started. There was a period of time where there was sort of 5 or 6 or 7 musicians that were playing at different nights that I'd play.
Okay.
And then I settled into, of course, Mr. Grant on bass. Steve Dagg is a new guy from Toronto. He's like a Humber grad. He's a videographer. He's a brilliant guy, and he's in town with some young kids. So I thought that'd be perfect.
Very cool.
And then, you know, my best friend Neil Lucy, who happens to be a guitar player as well, he started hanging out, you know, sort of more on the band side of things, and I was like, just fucking play some guitar. And he's the guitar player.
That came together naturally.
Yeah, so it's kind of like my best friends in a band right now. I've got a bunch of really close friends. You know, we all live within 5 blocks of each other.
Amazing. And how does that feel like compared to the other bands that you've been in before?
It feels much like it. It was the same with Thornley because, you know, Ian was at the time living with my sister. He was married to her, so I mean, he was my brother-in-law.
Fair.
So we had a family thing going there. His studio was down on Berkeley Street, I think it was, and Sekou, our drummer, rented a room in the studio and lived in it. So, you know, we'd be at the studio, Sekou was there, so it was me and Ian and Sekou, so that was a brotherhood there.
Yeah.
The Watchmen were a brotherhood because we all, well, I moved to Winnipeg to join those guys. And, you know, we basically lived at the McLaren Furnace Room. I lived with Danny's mom and his brother. So my 3 main sort of very successful in that I feel like they're accomplished and together have been groups where I feel like it's a brotherhood.
And I agree. Like I feel like that kind of
really
like family
thing.
foundation is so important just to get that, just the natural.
You're going to go through a lot together too.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you're going to be living in each other's back pockets, financially, emotionally. All the support you need is going to have to come from these musicians. Great. So you've got to have people that you really like. Yeah. You know, it's
you're
one
spending
thing
a lot of time with them.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to be able to hire, you know, such and such a guitar player or such and such a whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's a cool thing to say, I've got this person with me tonight, and everybody in the audience goes, yay, but it's like, you know, this person learned material and showed up, and it's fun, but it's also like, we're not going to go have dinner tomorrow night.
Yeah,
you know, just, so.
And I think like the tightness that the group gets, it translates to music for sure.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. And so what's with the name? Explain that.
Oh, I got a call. This was just when the band was forming, and it was me and Mr. Grant. I knew that was a solid core, and I had another guitar player, Ken Kelly, and I had Luc Mercier playing fiddle. Neil was around playing some acoustic guitar. And we were doing a lot of jamming on fiddle tunes. Luke was showing us a bunch of fiddle tunes. We're having a lot of fun with that. And I got a call to do a thing called Yarns at the Mill down in Centerton, I think it is. And I thought it was a storyteller music type thing because I tell a lot of stories.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, this is cool. And the week of the show, I reached out to the promoter. I said, so what exactly, what's the lineup and stuff? She said, oh, you're the only act. And I said, well, what exactly is this? She said, oh, it's actually a spinning weekend. And I said, what? She said, well, we've got spinners coming from all over Ontario, and they'll have their sheep and their cats and their rabbits there, and they'll be sharing them and spinning wool.
Whoa.
And making yarn. And I said, this isn't a storyteller's thing? She said, no, she said, you're going to play for an hour. You're like the afternoon entertainment for this group
For the
of
yarn
spinners.
group, for the spin
Went,
class.
oh, right. And then I kind of looked down at the contract, and I went, yeah, it does pay, okay. As you do. So that night I was talking to Luke, and Luke said, so what's this thing we're doing on the weekend? And I said, Luke, as far as I know, we're playing Music for Goats. And as soon as I said it, I said, Music for Goats. I said, that's the name of our new band, too.
There it is. I love it.
And he kind of said, what are you talking about? I said, we're actually playing a shearing festival. I said, it's people, there's going to be people shearing their sheep and making yarn.
That's new to me, but
I'd never heard of it either.
I might have to check that out.
Strangely enough, Neil's sister, our guitar player's sister, was one of the people that was there.
Very cool. She's in the industry. That's great.
She's in the shearing industry.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Ken. Yeah. So we're going to get to know you a little bit better quickly. We're going to play a little bit of this or that.
Oh, cool. I like that.
Okay, so we're going to go dog or cat?
Oh, dog.
Team dog. All right, I like it. Spaghetti or tacos?
Oh, that's a tough one.
I know.
Tacos if you're in the States, spaghetti if you're in Europe.
Okay. That's like a regional thing depending on where you are. I like that answer.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, worst hair metal band, Poison or Warrant?
Poison. I'm gonna have to go Poison on that one. Yeah.
That question's courtesy from David Joyce, owner of Treblecock Studio. And what is your favorite kind of guitar?
The Gretsch that I have currently is my favorite guitar.
Totally.
If I play acoustic, I usually gravitate to the Martin.
Okay, very good choice.
I like the attack of it.
Yeah.
But the Gretsch is the Gretsch that I got a custom Gretsch 3 years ago, I can't remember, 2 or 3 years ago, out of the custom shop, and it, it plays like unlike any other guitar, kind of plays itself, so it makes it really easy for me. So I absolutely love it.
Fantastic, awesome. Well, thanks for hanging with me this afternoon. It's
Thanks for having me here.
We're
it's
hanging
great.
out
it's nice
at Treblecock Studio, the expansion party. So come on, check it out, give us a call.
And, looks like a good spot. I think we're going to play a couple tunes for you over in the other room or something.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
Thanks,
excellent.
Ken.
Okay, cheers.